When I first got into this hobby, the music brought me there. And I got further into the hobby because I love the personal audio aspect of it and how it connects us directly with the music. Now, every once in a while, I come across a piece of gear that reminds me of that. And today is one of those days. And I'm going to tell you all about it. Let's get into it.
Blasted meddling kids.
What's cracking, everyone? My name is Ryan, and today we're going to be taking a look at the HiFiMan Arya Organic. Now, this is an open-back planar magnetic headphone from HiFiMan Audio. It retails in at $1,299, and I want to send a big thank you to Audio46, who sent me this headphone so that I could get some time with it in order to do this review. All thoughts and opinions are of my own. And I should mention just a quick disclaimer about Audio46. Now, I am not affiliated with them, but I have this partnership going with them that I very much appreciate so that I can get more audio gear reviews out to you guys. Now, with that, let's get into the technical specifications of this headphone. The Organic is the latest in the series of Arya headphones HiFiMan has put out, and there's been several versions now. Now, in this one, this is the stealth magnet technology. It is also a nanometer thickness diaphragm technology that we see something like on the HE1000 SE edition. Now, this is not the first time that we've seen nanometer technology, but they keep fine-tuning it as they go further and further into this series. This one in particular is 16 ohms of impedance and 94 dB per milliwatt of sensitivity. Now, to give you a little bit of a comparison there, the stealth magnet version right before this was 32 ohms of impedance with 94 dB per milliwatt of sensitivity. And then the non-stealth version before that was actually 35 ohms of impedance and 90 dB per milliwatt of sensitivity. So this one here is going to be the most efficient Arya that we have seen yet. But how about the build and comfort of the Organic? All right, really quick here, guys. If you like videos like this, please take a minute to smash that like button for me, because the more you do that, the more of these videos will get out with the YouTube algorithms and be seen. And that helps me continue to grow this channel. Also, if you have not done so already, please subscribe to the channel because I have more content coming out on a steady basis. I'm really trying to grow and really get involved with this community, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, back to the video. All right, so the build of the Organic and design choice, I think, is going to be pretty good for most and questionable for others. Now, build-wise, I gotta say, this is definitely a step up from the previous Arya, and just the window shade alone, even though this is all metal, it is a smoothened out metal. Now, on the previous version, it was a little bit sharp to the touch, not like cut your finger sharp, but a little bit sharp. The headband adjustment system is also a very smoothened out metal. Now, when you do adjust the strap on here, you are gonna get a scratch on the inside of the headband. That's just something that happens with these, but you know, I've come to accept that I'm the only person that's really seeing that. The strap itself is a leather, very comfortable pad. And then the ear pads on here, these are hybrid, so they're going to be leather with a velour finish on the cover, and they are super soft and super comfortable on the head, at least for my heads. Asymmetrical shape on the cups. There is complete cup swivel and rotation on here, and just really, really comfortable on my head. The questionable design choice, honestly, guys, it's going to be on the veneer coating. This is not actual wood. This is just a veneer, like almost like a wallpaper type material, I guess you could say, that they put over the plastic cup that is underneath this. Now, I understand why they didn't go with wood now that I've really looked into this, because wood can change the weight. It can change sound of this headphone. So, you know, it's just a design choice they chose to go with. It does look really good. I got to admit, you know, when I was doing video and things, B-roll, I mean, it looks damn good. So I am okay with that part of it. And it's comfortable. As I said, you know, 440 grams evenly weighted on my head, and it does go a little bit lower on your cheeks. So just note that. So with all that, now let's talk about sound. All right. So starting with bass first, I got to tell you that this to me is the best they have done so far with the Arya series for bass response. It has a lot of body to its bass. It does have really good extension, so you're going to get that nice felt planar sub bass, but body. I mean, it's got body and it's got attack to it as well, which I was very impressed to be able to hear that and actually being able to feel it hit on some notes. And to give you a good track example of what I'm talking about there is a track called Bass Solo by Greg Spiro and Company. There's a lot of artists on this track. Now, this is kind of more of a demo bass track than anything, because the bassist here, when he's plucking his bass instrument, you really feel those plucks, but you also get that attack nature of the strings. And so that's a really good example of what I'm talking about. And this sounds incredible, actually, on the Organic. And it was, a track that I instantly added to my playlist because it just has that very natural, organic nature to the music with the bass. And then to give you another example, there is The Hammer by James Blake. Now, I have mentioned this track before, but this one's interesting because you kind of get the layers here of what I'm talking about. There is very felt sub bass that's coming through, so it shows off the extension and you feel that, but then you're getting those, again, mid to upper bass hits a bass on this track to where you have both going on, and again, was a very impressive listen on the Arya Organic. Now, I will tell you that if you're listening to genres of music that have just nothing but sub bass and nothing but that low bass extension, I mean, we're talking low. I can't do that. But if you're talking the low bass, think of like some old hip hop tracks and things. Yeah, you may not get that as much, but in general, definite step up by Hi-Fi Man on the Organic with the bass response. With that, let's go ahead and talk about mid-range. All right, so the mid-range of the Organic is very full and, kind of reminds me of another headphone I own, and that is my ZMF O-Tour Classic. Now, the O-Tour Classic is very mid-centric and has a touch of mid-forwardness at times, and so does this headphone. Now, difference between the two, other than the fact that one's a dynamic and this one's a planar, is going to be some of the impact nature of that as well. I think the O-Tour Classic definitely has a little bit more impacts to drums and things, but this has got a lot of details here. And unfortunately, I think beats out the O-Tour Classic in details. I say unfortunately because I love that headphone, but it does beat it out in the details there. And there is one track I want to talk about, and that's Big Things Going Down by Dan Patlansky. Now, this track, I don't really want to talk about the guitar so much. I want to talk about his voice. His voice comes through with this rasp in it, and you can hear when he's got some drier moments in his voice, and you kind of get that, again, raspiness of his voice. Also, this track has good dynamic range. There's some quieter moments that pick up when he does do some solo on the guitar, and it can get loud, but not overly loud. So it's definitely not harsh, and it doesn't come across, any way like that, like some mid-forward things can be. It doesn't do that on the Organic. Just does such a musical job of bringing forth music to you. And speaking of vocals, there's another track I have to talk about, and that is The Moon Represents My Heart by Zhao Peng. Now, besides the fact that this is in a language I do not understand, I bring up this track, being serious now, guys, because when I listened to this, even though I had no idea what he was saying, his voice is beautiful. And it has so much reverb and just space and airiness to it. And there's parts of this track where you hear guitars on the right and left side. So spatial imaging is spot on here. And there's a flute that comes through the back and, we'll bring in moments to the track. But his voice all throughout is the center stage. And it almost brought a tear to my eye and just made me, stop and think for a second. This is why I'm in this hobby. This is why I love music, because of those moments. I don't care what they're saying. I can imagine it's something very dramatic and, telling a story. And I loved this track and I instantly added it to my mix because this headphone made that track sound excellent. If you own the Organic, look that track up and thank me later. I just was blown away by that track and I can't stop talking about it, which I know I need to so that I can move on to the next thing. But seriously, this is what it's all about, guys. So now I do want to move in and talk about treble. All right, so for treble, to no surprise, guys, there's a lot of detail here. There is excellent instrument separation, but what they have accomplished with this headphone is something they didn't do before, for me anyway, in that previous versions were a little bit unnatural. This is aptly named organic. I mean, there is just an accurate, jointed musical nature to this headphone that makes it so that even though I'm getting those instruments separated precisely, they sound like they should be there and they should be together on the mix. And it's an excellent job by Hi-Fi Man, in my opinion. Does this get some of that sibilance? Well, here's what I would say. There is a little bit of sizzle on some S's and T's of some artists because some just naturally have that. And this is not going to shy away from showing you that, but it's also not edgy. It is not over the top with that sibilance as previous versions of Hi-Fi Man have been. Bangor Dynamics do it, unfortunately, really well on the sibilance. Not really well in a good way, by the way. And this one is better, in my opinion. It's the best they've done yet on the Aryas, and that's why I love this headphone so much in the treble region. Now, there's lots of space, there's lots of airiness, and there's one track I want to bring up, and that is Autumn Leaves by Eva Cassidy. Now, this one could be, something you might talk about more in the mid-range because it's a very vocal-focused track again, but her voice goes way into the upper registry, and it is beautiful. When I was listening to this track, I literally stopped and called my wife in, and I said, Brie, you have got to listen to this headphone. And I actually want to give you a glimpse of even what she experienced with this headphone.
Yeah, these are really cool. It's crazy how there's that combination of just the crispness, not Christmas, the crispness of her voice, and just hearing every instrument, and then just when the chorus and the bass comes in is just incredible. It's really cool.
So now do you understand why I bought them?
Absolutely. They're amazing. I would say probably in the top, even after the Can Jam and everything, in the top probably headphones that I've listened to that you've had. So yeah.
And so as you can see, I'm not alone with my experience with this. Now, also, I've been gaming with this headphone. I have gotten into Baldur's Gate 3, and I love that flipping game. In fact, I had to choose, am I going to drop this review today or play more Baldur's Gate 3? Well, this one out for right now. But in the meantime, while I was testing this headphone, I did download the soundtrack to Baldur's Gate 3 because it's got a really good soundtrack, and I loved a lot of the orchestral music of that game on the Arya Organic. And as I said, it's got good space. I do think it's a little bit wider than the previous Arya version. Now, I hadn't heard previous versions before that to tell you if it's that, but it's a definite wider space of information that you're getting. And it's, again, very natural. So it's not overly done there either to where you lose out on notes. So they did such an excellent job with that. Now, one last thing I do want to mention is inside the box, you get this foam stand here and you get the cable, and that's about it. Now, I did pick up this cable here that I actually just did a short on. This is a Moondrop Line W cable that Audio 46 sent me, and I'm going to buy this cable. It is a super nice 4.4 balance cable. Pairs really well with this, so I can play, on my portable solutions. But speaking of sources, I've used this on multiple different sources. I will say I get my best experience out of my desktop solution with my ADI2 DAC with my DAC and either my Cayenne IHA6 or my Liquid Platinum running balance. Love that combination, but this also sounded really good on the iFi Go Bar and the Cayenne RU7. I did try it as a dongle solution to my phone. You can do that, but those details really come out when you give it just a little bit more power there, and it doesn't need a lot, which is excellent. So in case you haven't caught on already, I really dig this headphone. In fact, I dig it so much that I emailed Audio 46 and asked them, hey, since you sent this to me brand new, can I just buy this one? And I did. I bought this one. Had to sell some stuff to buy it, but I bought this one. Don't regret a single second of it. Is this a very hyped headphone? Yes, it is. A lot of people are saying good things about it. But before you judge, look to what they're saying, realize what their preferences are and what their subjective nature of it is, and form your own opinion, because I love this headphone. And that is how I'm going to wrap up this video. So I thank you all for watching, guys. Again, please subscribe if you haven't done already. If you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next one.